Okay,
Okay.
we're on in three,
All right,
right?
we're live.
All right, here we go.
Oh,
All right,
okay.
I'll lead the call.
Hey, everybody. David Hammond here, and we welcome you to Game Show Talking Fun. This is how it works. If you want to get in on our conversation, just click on the link you see in the Lost Silver Productions Facebook page or on my own personal Facebook page. That's who we have here tonight. We have Andrew Silkovitz.
Hello.
We have Antonio Gray.
What's up?
How you doing? We have Scott. He's having a little difficulty right now. Now hearing him. And we have Charles.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the Game Show Talking Fun crew? This is the Big C, Charles Berman, here once again on YouTube.
Okay. Now, before we get to tonight's Smash or Trash, we have to address the passing of I guess you could say a legend in our business. For those of you that may not know, a British game show host by the name of Bruce Forsyth passed away earlier this week. Now, for those of you that don't know, Brucey, as he was known in the UK, he was the Bob Barker of England. He hosted several game shows, including the British version of The Price is Right.
Oh. Bruce's Price is Right.
He also hosted the British version of Card Sharks. Also hosted the British version of Dancing with the Stars. So,
and he will be sorely
Charles.
missed.
Yes, he will be sorely missed. Yeah. Charles, your thoughts on Bruce? Oh, I forgot to mention the one show he would be known for in the United States was a word game by the name of Bruce Forsyth's Hot Streak. It was a variation of Pyramid.
He'll be sorely missed. He was a great game show host. He'll be sorely missed.
Yes, he was. All right. Scott, Scott's still having issues. Charles.
Yes.
He was also knighted. Okay, I didn't know that. Thank you, Scott. Scott's participating with us in the chat room since we can't hear him with voice.
It happens, so don't worry.
Okay. Charles, your thoughts on Bruce Forsyth?
He'll be sorely missed. He was like the Bob Barker of the UK's game shows. There will not be another one like him. Will not be another one like him.
Antonio, your thoughts?
There's really nothing you can say. It's just, he was like Chris said, was the Bob Barker of game shows over there. The only thing I have a problem is I wonder if the new Price is Right will do any, rest in peace montage or anything when it comes on later this year.
I'm not sure about that.
That's news to me. I didn't know that England was going to do another Price is Right.
Yep, it's been announced. Was it been announced earlier this year or last year? They're doing one sometime fall or winter of this year.
Okay, that's news to me. Man, I'm going to have to check that out. Andrew, your thoughts on Bruce Forsyth's passing?
Well, I never heard of him before, but anytime someone famous passes away, my thoughts are always with that person. So I'll try to watch some of the old shows on maybe YouTube or whatever they're on. So I'll try to do that.
Mm-hmm. Check out the episodes of Price is Right that he did host in the UK. They're pretty good. Scott, your thoughts on Bruce Forsyth passing away? He says, "Get back to me." Okay. Okay. Get back to him in a sec. All right. Charles, while we take this moment, what was your favorite Bruce Forsyth show?
Well, from one of the I watched a lot of Price is Right on YouTube. His version was the best. I like when he did Price is Right.
Okay.
What about you, David?
Mine was Mine was Hot Streak, mainly because that's my generation. I love word games, and Hot Streak was a variation of Pyramid, so it holds a dear place in my.
Player Cards Right was the United States variation of Card Sharks.
Yes, it was. And Scott says his was a Hot Streak and Play Your Cards Right. What Charles said is right. Play Your Cards Right is the UK version of Card Sharks. Andy, I know you haven't seen a Bruce Forsyth show. So you said you were going to check a few out. Yeah. Sorry, I'm tongue-tied. Antonio. Your thoughts?
From what I have seen, Price is Right is just the one that sticks out to me of being my favorite on Bruce Forsyth show that he has done.
Now, few people realize he was hosting games all the way up into his 80s. He was the host of the British version of Dancing with the Stars as well, in case anybody didn't know.
It wasn't the UK version for the United States version.
Say what?
Wasn't the UK version of Dancing with the Stars for the one we got now?
Yeah. Oh, don't forget the Generation game.
What is
okay,
Generation?
that's a UK show. That's another UK show that Bruce hosted. I'll have to check that one out. I haven't seen that one.
Well,
but you know, he was UK's Bob Barker. He's going to be missed, even though the US only got a small taste of him through Hot Streak. We at least did get to see him for those 13 weeks. So in retrospect, Bruce Forsyth, you will be missed, my friend.
yeah, what's up?
That out of the way. Let's play Smash or Trash.
Let's do a little smash or trash.
Smash or trash. 2 turns for being someone being drunk or stoned.
All right, then.
Not that I am right now.
I'm going to go over to Andy. We're going to start Smash or Trash off with
Okay.
you.
Okay.
It was recently announced that Wheel of Fortune this year, one of the changes they're doing to the show is that you'll have a choice of 3 categories when you make it to the bonus round.
Kind of like on Wheel 2000 almost.
Right. And Andy, is this Smash or Trash for Wheel of Fortune?
Andrew, you there, brother?
Andy, you there? Okay, we'll get back to Andy. Charles, let's go over to you. You picking from 3 categories in the bonus round in Wheel of Fortune. Is this Smash or Trash?
I'm probably gonna say it's gonna be a smash, but let's see how it does mid-season though.
Now, Antonio, over to you. Is this Smash or Trash for Wheel of Fortune?
It's trash for me because it's like these last couple of years or whatever, Sony is just giving up on Price is Right. No, I mean Wheel of Fortune in the long front. I mean, I can think of Jeopardy is fine. It's fine, but it's just that I can think of so many different things that I would add or change to make Wheel of Fortune more watchable again.
Welcome back.
I lost the call somehow. I don't know.
Okay. All right, then. Andy, now we'll come over to you.
Yeah.
Having a choice of 3 categories in the bonus round for Wheel of Fortune is one of the changes they're making to the show this year. Is this Smash or Trash for Wheel of Fortune?
Well, I mean, there's usually only one category, and I'm thinking that it might be better if you had a choice of different categories. I mean, I would think it's. I would say.
Okay.
Oh,
Now Scott says this is trash for Wheel of Fortune, and we'll get back to him in why for a second. It'll take him a while to type out his response. Charles,
yeah. What's up?
the next topic that I want to talk about on Smash or Trash tonight.
Okay. What's second?
I guess you could say the raunchy questions to Family Feud that has made Family Feud the #1 game show in syndication again.
Hmm.
For many people that don't know, Wheel of Fortune was #1 from 1986, I believe, till 2016. Now, Family Feud has claimed the throne. Does Family Feud need those kind of questions?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You don't need.
Do you
You don't
think
need
it's-
I think it's
Do you
trash
think
him how
it's
they're.
those questions that is making Family Feud #1 now?
Yep. Like whatever else is going on.
All right, Andy, your turn. Are those questions making Family Feud #1 now, in your opinion? And does Family Feud really need them?
which questions are you talking about? I mean, I watch it all the time, but which questions are you talking about?
The questions are very secular.
Oh, yeah.
Sexual in
Yeah.
nature. Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely say trash then.
Yeah. Antonio, your thoughts?
We're in a whole another decade where these type of questions is making Family Feud watchable again. I mean, people wants to see the contestants answer in Steve Harvey's reaction.
Okay. Now, Scott says he agrees with Andy and Scott and Charles here. I think we're all in agreement. Family Feud doesn't need these questions.
No.
They're put in there, in my opinion, anyway. They're put in there for sheer shock factor.
Yeah.
And I don't see why Fremantle allows them.
Yeah.
I guess that's a subject we'll talk about for another time.
Yeah, for a future episode.
Yeah. Okay. One more Smash or Trash, and then we'll get to the main topic of the discussion.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
All right. We all know that Match Game is always on the borderline of of similar questions.
Yep.
Does the ABC version of Match Game, hosted by Alec Baldwin, do they need those questions for the viewers? And by the way, while I say this, it has been renewed for a season 3. So Charles, does Match Game need these questions? No. He says no. Andy, does Match Game need these questions?
Not at this point in time. Definitely no.
Like if they were going to try to attempt
Scott
another.
says no. Antonio, does Match Game need these questions?
I don't mind one or two, but we don't need the whole game based on those type of questions.
Yeah.
Right. And we've seen one or two slip into Pyramid, but nothing like we've seen with Match Game or Family Feud.
No.
So let's hope it doesn't get to that point.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, speaking of game shows that were part of ABC's lineup, guess what got gonged?
Yep. The Gong Show got axed.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Well, the Gong Show was the only one of ABC's game shows to not get renewed. The rest of them did.
Okay, I'm ready for the main topic.
Okay. With that out of said, tonight's main topic, we're talking about Starcade, the classic Jeff Edwards game show that was based around arcade games.
Yep.
Now, Charles,
Classic art.
I'm gonna start this one off with you.
Okay.
For those people that haven't seen it, describe Starcade.
Okay. Starcade is a classic arcade game show. First off, you get because the grand prize, you either win a home robot or your own classic arcade game. In the first round, you gotta answer an A or B question, and the winner chooses the first game. And one of them games is the mystery game, which can get you a good prize. In the first round, you can play for 50 seconds so you can get the higher score first. And the second final round will be 40 seconds, and in the final round, 30 seconds. And there's also a little mini game called Name the Game Board. You get to name within 3 games, you get the minor prize. When you get all 4 games, you win a major prize like a ColecoVision or something.
Now, said you're one of the handful of people that I know that actually watched Starcade during its original airing on TBS.
Yeah, after
Most
I got
of us,
back
including
from high
myself,
school, it was
watched
on
it when it was on G4.
Yeah, it was like a 4:00 p.m. after I got back from high school, I think, and I watched it all the time. But I don't remember it's been a long time now. It's been about over 30 years. So, I mean,
And they're doing a binge-a-thon on,
Yeah,
and they're
I
doing a
know.
binge-a-thon on Monday the 28th.
Yep.
That's for 7 days.
28th through only through September.
September
It's
what?
through the well, yeah, 7 days, I guess, but it was like through September 2nd, so it's not quite 7 days, but it's almost 7 days.
And I've got the time. And I've got the times for the binge-a-thon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Scott, I'm not sure what the lost episode was. I know there's one, but I'm not sure what it was, what number it is, what games were played. I don't have that information.
Well, it probably was the pilot, though.
Right. Actually, the pilot was, while we're talking about that the pilot for Starcade was hosted by Mike Eruzione. Many people will recognize that name.
I know, yep.
Yeah, he was the captain of the USA hockey team that beat Russia at the 1980 Winter Olympics.
Yep.
Now, how Jeff Edwards got into it, I don't know. It's a question I never got the chance to ask him, and in hindsight, I think I should have during our original interview, which was conducted about 10 years ago. Yep, the Miracle on Ice is what Mike Eruzione is actually known for.
That's right. But they had to be Finland to win the gold.
Yeah, the championship match was the USA versus Finland.
Yep.
Now, Antonio, how did you find out about Starcade? Did you watch reruns on YouTube? Did you watch the reruns on G4?
The first time I got exposed to Stargate was either YouTube or G4. I don't remember where I got the exposure from. It was either one of those two.
Okay. All right. It was the Cliffhangers episode that was that's the lost episode.
Oh, you mean the one with Lupin the Third?
Yeah.
That was actually aired on YouTube. Actually, that was actually aired on G4 one time. Actually.
Okay.
So we don't consider it a lost episode at all.
All right, my mistake. Okay. Now back over to you, Charles.
Yeah. What's up?
Was Jeff Edwards a good host for Starcade? We know he wasn't the first host. I forget the name of
Richards. Mark Richards was the first host of Starcade.
Mark Richards. Okay. Was Jeff Edwards the better host of the two?
Yep. he actually gave out hints to the players, and actually felt like he was part of the game too.
We'll touch on that here in a second. Andy, was Jeff Edwards better than Mark Richards for host?
Well, I don't remember which host I saw, but I know I saw a lot of episodes, and I think whichever host I saw was pretty good. I mean, most game shows that I watch, if I don't like the host, I'm not going to watch it. So,
well, then I'm going to have to assume that's Jeff Edwards. All right.
Yeah, probably. But the host for most of the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Antonio, Mark Richards or Jeff Edwards?
Jeff Edwards, because he actually got to actually play those games and actually, like like Charles said, gave a little bit of hints into the players' ears to make sure they want to take it or not. I feel like, hey, he did a better job.
Now, that is true. Jeff Edwards said it in our interview with him 10 years ago when we asked him about Starcade. He said generally, if he was going to host this show, he wanted to have his hands on, know what he was talking about when he faced these kids. So yeah, he played the games himself.
Okay.
And he admitted to us he was a self-admitted gamer. He became a gamer.
That's right. And one of his best games was, if I can screen share for you guys.
Go ahead.
Okay. Do it.
Sinistar.
Oh, I sort of remember that, but I'm not exactly.
Yeah. Yep. If you can bring that up for us, Scott, I appreciate it. You bring that up.
Nah, that was me that did it, man.
All right. But that's Sinistar was one of, and they actually showed Jeff beating the game one night.
Wow. He must have been a
Not
Sinistar
maxing out
master.
the score, but actually beating the Sinistar.
All 256 levels?
No, they showed him beating the Sinistar, not actually reaching level 256. If they showed that, we could call him the king.
Maybe the kill
Something
screen.
even I
Yeah.
Now, while we all know generally the rules of Starcade.
Pretty much.
All right.
Charles, do you think any of the rules of Starcade were in any way unfair?
I think they were kind of fair, honestly. I had to deal with the scores. That's the thing.
Okay. Andy, do you think the rules for Sinistar were fair or unfair?
Based on what the number of points you needed to get was, I guess some people could do it and some people couldn't. So I guess it's pretty fair unless you're really good at someone's really good at the game.
I'll be back.
I guess that's one reason why they allowed you to
Right.
fair,
Yeah.
but hard. All right, then. Scott says it was fair, but it was hard at the same time. Antonio, were the rules to Starcade fair to the players?
I think they were fair. You play 3 games, and the best scores out of those 3 games you win. I feel like nothing needs to be changed. It was fair enough.
Okay. Now, obviously, the strategy for Starcade is to pick high-scoring games at the end of the game.
Right.
In the 3rd round to make up score if you're behind.
Yep.
And if you're in the lead and you get to pick the game, the obvious strategy is to pick a low-scoring game.
Like some that's not some tough, like hard to play.
Right.
For example, I got another arcade game. If you guys ever heard of the game Bagman?
Yep.
Yes,
I remember that game. Yes, I remember that.
Okay, let me pull it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got. If you ever heard of the arcade emulator MAME, I highly recommend downloading it.
I've heard of it.
It's a very nice program.
It's really good. Brings you back to the
Yeah.
good old days of retro gaming. This is some
Yeah, I don't have a
PacMan.
computer. I don't have a computer though, so I can't play it on my phone now. So it's okay.
See,
Yep.
the object of this game, you got to get all.
Yes, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
That's a throwback right there. If you had to get all the money to them, make sure you get all the money and look at the score how hard this game is. So this
It
game
is
was
because you can fall down, you can fall, you can fall. Yeah, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
yeah. I know these games. That's why they make these games like so. Some games you think you know how to play them, and there's like these some levels are really tough.
yeah.
Like
Now,
the 32 levels of Super Mario Brothers. I mean, like there's a few tough levels to get through all the whole game.
Yep.
now, Charles, hypothetically speaking, if it's you, I'm going to give you a list of five classic arcade games.
Okay.
All right, and hypothetically speaking, if you're a contestant on Starcade, which one of these five games are you going to play first?
Oh.
Ooh,
Oh.
okay.
Putting me on the spot there, guys. Put me on the spot.
Well.
Between PacMan,
Yeah.
Galaga,
Oh.
Big Doug,
Hmm.
Sinistar, or Joust. If you had to choose one of those five games to play in round one of Star's games, would you play first?
That would be an easy one.
You would play Dig Dug first.
No, duh. No, not that, but this one right here.
Okay.
Oh.
Oh, he would play
Oh.
Pac-Man first. So would Scott. Scott just said he would play Pac-Man first. Antonio, which one would you play first?
I'm going with the pack here. I would pick PacMan first.
You would play Pac-Man first.
Looks like
Yes,
Okay.
I would.
Okay. Andy, which one would you play first?
I'm not.
You broke up there.
oh.
All right, then. Let's try that again, Andy. Which one of these games would you have played first?
Well, is this the one that I'm not good at? That I should play first. I mean, that's what you said before. I mean, if it's not one that I'm not good at, I would play Pac-Man as well.
Well, the idea would be to play a game in the opening round. The idea is to play a game that you might know, but you can't score a lot in.
Which would be like maybe Pac-Man. Pac-Man, I can score a lot. I can score a lot. Well, I guess then Dig Dug, because I mean, Pac-Man, I can probably get past maybe one or two boards. So maybe Dig Dug then.
Okay. Now, Charles, why Pac-Man?
Yes.
Why would you play Pac-Man first? It would seem to me logic would suggest you would want to say Pac-Man to the end because you could rack up a lot of points in a hurry if you ate all those ghosts in one chunk.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I played Pac-Man first, because nobody can beat me. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yep, it's 1600.
Yeah.
The first ghost is 2. The third is 4. The fourth is 8.
16.
And 16.
Yeah.
Okay. Antonio, why would you play Pac-Man first?
Why? Is because I'm trying for me. I'll try to get the feel of playing the first game to see if I can rack up some points. Then come harder in the next 2 rounds for me.
Okay. Now, Andy, you chose Dig Dug.
Yeah, I mean, I played it and I can do okay, but I know how to play it.
Okay.
I suck at Dig.
I mean, it depends. When they tell you what the challenge is, then you know then you know that what you're in for. Until they tell you how many points you have to beat, then you don't know.
That's for the final round.
Yeah.
Oh, that's only the final round. So
Yeah.
you just play the first rounds for as many points as you can get, I guess. Okay, yeah, okay.
The final round is try to beat a score that between 18 other people that play the same game.
Yeah, which is
in order to
kind
get
of hard. Yeah.
Which is not bad though, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, back to you,
What
Charles.
would you play first? You didn't have an answer for yourself.
I would have played Galaga first.
Yeah, well, I said the same thing, but that's, I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty good at a couple.
Galaga is my worst game.
Yeah.
Galaga is my
Well,
worst game.
I would have played
I like
Galaga
it, though.
first, but that's me.
I like Galaga. I like Galaga.
And remember, if you lost all your lives,
if you have the
your turn immediately ended.
you need to get the double thing. Once you have the double thing, then you're pretty much set.
Yeah. Remember, if you lost all your lives in the middle of your playing, your turn immediately ended.
Well, you get the challenge stage too. I mean, if you get far, have time enough to get that far, probably not. I don't know. Yeah. So.
But they didn't allow turbo. But they didn't allow turbo cheats like they do in gaming.
No, they don't.
Yeah, of course not.
You had to play this. You had to play the default Namco dip switch settings.
Namco Bandai now.
Yep. And oh, there's Hubert.
Okay.
Scott says he's good at elevator action. Now that was a good one too.
I played that too, but I'm not so great at that. I mean, it's okay, but
now.
Oh, Hubert.
Now, Scott. Well, not Scott. I mean Charles.
Yeah.
It's the second round, and you're leading.
Oh.
What do you play? Don't recognize it.
No.
Dig Dug. The main theme to Dig Dug.
Oh, you play Dig Dug. Okay. Now, Scott said if you're leading in the second round, you play Joust.
Oh, I remember Joust. Yeah, I was pretty good in that.
That game was pretty good, though. I like that one.
Now, Andy, what would you play if you were leading and it was the second round of Starcade?
Well, would I want to build my lead or what, right? I'm supposed to try to build my lead, maybe, or play one that's a low scoring game that someone like.
Well, you're in the lead. We're hypothetically saying you're in the lead. So base your strategy on the fact you're leading and you got one of 4 games left to play.
Well, I don't want to wait till the last round to wait for my best game. So I maybe since I'm so good at Galaga, I would go with Galaga next because I'm pretty good at it. Get pretty far. Build my lead.
Right. So your strategy would be to increase your lead to try to make it insurmountable.
Right. So another round, I wouldn't want to worry about. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're at halftime. And let's say you're trailing.
Ooh.
Oh.
Okay. Hey, your opponent's already gone to the name the game board and has already done the business there. You've got 1 game left to play. And you've got to get points fast.
Galaga.
Yeah, the same thing. I mean, because I have to get the one I'm best at, which would be Galaga. So say either way.
Yeah, and Scott is saying Galaga.
Yep, Galaga for sure. Yeah.
Let me load. Okay, let me load that ROM up.
Antonia, what do you play?
Yeah, I'm agree with everybody. I have to go with Galaga.
Yeah, well, he's not unanimous this time.
Yeah, Scott's made it to the 15th level of Galaga.
I got about 100,000 like one time when I played Galaga recently, like last year. So I did pretty well. Now, I hadn't played in a long time.
Now, looking at it, I can see why you would pick this. The thing I would have with this is that you could lose your ships fast, just like I
just did. Just like I did right there.
Oh. Yeah, but once you lose your life, that's it.
If you're about, let's say you're roughly 8,000 or 9,000 points behind, and you got maybe 40 seconds to play this thing, could you theoretically make up the difference?
It could happen.
Okay, Scott said yes, you could.
It could happen, though. It all depends on how you play it, too.
Based on that information, would you go for the double ship? Or would you just shoot your way through it?
I'd shoot my way through like I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Too risky.
Okay, then Scott says go for the double ship. Antonio, would you go for the double ship in that situation?
No, I'm shooting my way on through.
Oh yeah.
You'd shoot through.
Antonio, you're doing like my strategy, like I'm going to shoot all the way through, like that, right?
Shoot all the way through. Yep.
And
Right.
you saw how I was
Andy,
doing it, right?
would you shoot through or would you go for the double ship?
Too risky for the double ship because if you lose it, then yeah, that's it. So I would just.
Then you're screwed.
I can do
Then
it
you're
pretty easily
screwed.
with one ship. I can do it with one that's just as good. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, hypothetically speaking, let's say you've won the game
Uh-huh.
and you've got a choice of 2 games left.
Oh.
Joust
Ooh.
or Dig Dug.
Ooh.
Oh God.
Oh wow.
Dang.
The arcade machine
Wow.
is on the line. Which one do you choose to play?
Oh.
Okay. Don't.
And Charles says play Dig Dug.
Hmm.
Play Dig Dug for the arcade machine.
Well, I played for the arcade cabinet because I want to see how much points I can get.
Okay, let's see. Okay, 350. He's got 400. Now it's 6. Okay, now at 1160. 1990. That would do it. That would win you on Starcade. That would win you the arcade machine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you see how scarce those arcade cabinets are nowadays.
Yeah. Now,
Like
Antonio,
with the
which
crash
one would
of
you
19
play, Joust or Dig Dug?
I'm going with Joust.
Okay,
Oh,
why would you
Riley,
play Joust for the Why would you play Joust for the
Shoot.
bonus round?
Dude, I don't have that. I have the Nintendo version. Would that be the same thing?
Yeah, it'd be the same game.
Okay. Can we load it up?
Antonio, why would you play Joust?
Because Dig Dug, as simple as it can be, that game, I can't invest in that game when I played it. So I'm going with Joust to make it to try to win.
Okay, cool. But I don't have Dragon Slayer. But I don't have Dragon Slayer though. I don't have the emulator to run Dragon Slayer at all.
Right. Andy,
Yeah.
which one would
Brian-
you play?
I've always been better at Joust than Dig Dug, so it'd be Joust for me as well.
Yeah, my
Okay.
30 seconds are almost up.
1,000. 2,000.
Get that egg.
2,500.
Get that egg.
No.
Oh yeah.
Ah!
No, you wouldn't have done it.
What would have been the score for that?
At least 2,500.
2,500.
Yeah,
taken a long time.
And
but-
you,
Yeah.
if you had caught that egg when it first hit the screen,
Right. Yeah.
you would've got it.
Yeah. Would've-
would've got it.
Yeah. Split second things in these games.
Now,
I don't have
Starcade
I don't have loop on the third either.
Now, Starcade, admittedly, was the first game show to use arcade machines for its main plot. But it wasn't the only
And for the era as well.
one. Here you
And
go.
for that era as well, exactly.
But it wasn't the first. But it's not the only one to do it. Most of us remember Nick Arcade.
Yeah, sort of.
God. Oh man.
Yeah.
Cobra.
Oh, Nick Arcade is a classic, man.
Now, Nick Arcade was not all arcade games.
No, probably not.
It would have been great if it was, but it wasn't. Cliffhangers. It only used 3 screens. I didn't know that.
All right.
No. No. Hold it. No, I misunderstood what Scott was saying. Okay. Charles, if you had to change something from Starcade, what would you have changed?
Instead of one name the game board, I have two name the game boards.
You would have had two names. All right, then. Scott says Starcade was fine the way it is. Antonia, what would you have changed?
Nothing needs to be broken with Stargate. It was fine the way it was.
Okay. Andy, would you have changed anything?
No, I agree with Antonio completely.
Okay. So pretty much, Charles said he would have added a second name to game board.
Which you did during the early run. But during the Jeff Edwards run, add a second name to the game board, double prizes.
Okay.
Yeah, what's up?
Now.
All right, I'll be back, guys.
Okay.
Okay.
Andy,
Sorry.
what do you think the appeal was to Starcade? What do you think the appeal was to make people come back and watch it? Now, obviously, it lasted only 1 year, but people were watching and people were paying attention, and people, from what I understand, did like the show.
Well, just to see how people could actually do it, the video games on a game show, because when you play them in the arcade, there's no pressure when you play it in the arcade, but when you play it on TV, you're under a lot of pressure. So yeah, I mean, watching people play it, I could play games easily not on TV, but if I had to play it on TV, I don't know how I would do. That's my thing about being under pressure on TV, and when you play it in real life, it's no pressure. So they could practice them like before you go on the show, but still going to have a problem playing it on TV.
Okay. Antonio, your thoughts?
To see the games that you seen for the first time, looking at games you be like that you never seen, you be like, wow, the companies gave them to go ahead to show these brand new games off before coming out, releasing into the public.
Now that is one thing that Starcade did do. They did debut a lot of arcade games on the show.
Yeah.
Yes, and like Scott said, and you got to see new arcade machines that came out.
Yeah.
Now, here's one thing that I think I remember. I don't know if I heard this from Jeff, if I read it somewhere. That arcade that was set up backstage for the show, it was a real functioning arcade.
Wow.
It was a real functioning arcade. Hey, these kids could actually go back there and could play these games. And the way they selected the contestants is by their ability to play certain games.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's one way you had to. I guess if you're going to do a quote contestant test for arcade game show, playing ability is obviously going to be the main factor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I can remember some episodes of Starcade were strictly devoted. Some episodes were strictly devoted to one single game. I remember one episode was devoted to Super PacMan, one to Dragon Slayer, one to Cliffhangers. Yeah. I remember one was devoted to Miss PacMan as well. Track and field. I don't remember the entire episode devoted to track and field, but I believe you on that.
That's a good game. Yeah, I did pretty well some of the events.
That is one of the track and field is one of those games. I got exposed to it in the Atari 2600 generation. They actually made a special controller for playing track and field on Atari 2600. Worked quite well, actually, from what I remember. Scott says his best game is Tetris. I don't know if they ever played that.
Yeah,
I don't know if they
I'm
ever
not too
played
good
that
at
on
that. I'm
Starcade.
okay with that,
That's
but
too late.
I can play Tetris now on my phone very easily.
Yeah. I think Tetris came along too late in Starcade. And
yeah, probably a little bit after it ended.
After the show went off the air.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Now, let's go back and touch on the fact that in general, yeah, the video game crash, did it contribute to the cancellation of Starcade? Scott says yes, it did. Andy, the video game crash of '83, did it contribute to the cancellation of Starcade?
Oh, can you explain that a little bit more? I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about because I mean, what do you mean by that?
Okay. All right, then. The video game crash started with the, I guess you could say the dominoes started tumbling when Atari ordered more copies of the ET game than there was Atari consoles in circulation.
Okay, yeah.
Which led to the crash. Well, the dominoes started falling for the crash.
So,
and then we started seeing companies just producing bad games in general, and people have lost confidence in the market. Did all of this contribute to Starcade's cancellation?
I don't think it can be completely due to that. I mean, I know right before Starcade started, like Donkey Kong came out in the arcade in like 1982, and of course Pac-Man was around too. But I mean, there weren't a lot of games around then. But I was playing some games, and I don't think it completely contributed to it. Just shows like that don't always last that long. I mean, it's hard to say what really contributed to it or not.
Okay, Antonio.
No, you have to factor, like Andy said, you have to factor in a lot more other things to make an exception on what really happened with Stargate.
Okay, let's touch on that. In your opinion, what happened to cause Starcade's demise?
It could have been the ratings. The ratings wasn't there. It could have been that, but I really don't know what could have been the real reason. I'm just gonna go with ratings.
All right, then. Scott is going with the video game crash. Antonio is saying it was just flat out the ratings. And Andy, what do you think?
Yeah, maybe not the right channel. It was on TBS, and like a game show on TBS. I mean, that's kind of unheard of now. I mean, nowadays they have almost anything in any channel.
Now, as we talk about all this, as we talk about all this, Shout Factory is getting ready to revive Starcade.
Yep.
So excited.
Yeah, Monday.
Antonio, what would you like to see in a revival for Starcade?
Whoa, that's a good question. Okay. it has to. Let's just say if Stargate does happen and it gets picked up by a network, it has to have. It has to have some of the latest and greatest consoles like PS4, Xbox One, Switch. You have to, if you want to do old school, you can go back to the old school days of video game. But it's just you just have to keep up with the times and where the consoles are at today.
Do you think Starcade, as we see it now, um, do you think it's going to be strictly console games, or do you think companies will actually create arcade games?
I would like to see variety. I don't want them to stick with just console games. Do it all. Make it nostalgia for people who remembers Stargate back in the 80s.
Okay. Andy, what would you like to see in a revival of Starcade?
Well, definitely some of the games they had on the original show, but maybe some other games that came like in between then and now. So, yes, some games
Now,
maybe, yeah.
Now, seeing that we're talking about this, he said to me when I mentioned this earlier today on Facebook, they said, "Dear God, please don't let it be just one-on-one games like Street Fighter or Killer Instinct or Mortal Kombat. Don't let it be something like that." Do you agree with their assessment? Scott says mix of new and classic arcade games. I agree with that.
That's what I said. Yep.
Yeah. But do you agree they need to leave the one-on-one player versus player games out of a revival of Starcade?
No.
Okay, why not?
No. I would like to see for me, if I'm doing the revival of Stargate, I would like to have 1 versus 1, 2 versus 2. I would like to have a variety of face-offs. I just don't. I understand 1 versus 1 was so good with the 80s version, but we're thinking in 2017 over here, and I just want to see 1-on-1s, 2-on-2s, whatever they could think of.
All right, then. Now, Scott is saying leave the player versus player games out of it. So Scott is saying leave games like Killer Instinct, Tekken, Street Fighter, leave them out. Andy, do you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, I don't think it should.
Games like Killer Instinct and all that should be left.
Take them out. Just have take the player versus player out, and just have the other games.
Okay. Now we've come a long way since the beginning of the arcade revolution, and Starcade is the thing that put it in our living rooms.
Yeah.
Correct.
What? And I think we'll close on this.
All right.
What do you think if Starcade is revived? What do you think we're going to see, Andy?
Well, there are still people that still actually play video games. Like I said, there's arcades in New York City and Jersey City and Morristown near me, and I like to play them whenever I can. So maybe,
it's not.
I know people can play games on their computers and or phones or whatever, but I mean, I still play the actual games in the arcades. So I mean, like, people can play whatever they want, but yeah, so I think that people can play whatever they want.
So it's not. So arcades are not dead; they're just few and far between.
Yeah, there are not. There are still some around still, and like it's just hard to find certain cities and states. But like New York City, of
Scott
course, they're big.
says we have a
They have
pinball
a
place
couple.
that opened up in
Yeah,
New York City.
yeah,
I heard about that place.
and
Of
it's a
course, you've got the
barcade. They have
Pinball Hall of
they have
Fame.
a bar there. You can actually drink when you're playing the games.
Of course, you have the Pinball Hall of Fame out in Las Vegas too.
Which I have to get to because I can't afford it right now, but I'd like to get there.
All right, Antonio, what are we going to see in a revival?
I personally, I hope they keep the original concept of the game, of why Stargate was so popular. But you have to add the newer games like from the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, which to get people engaged in watching your program.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, and I think that is a perfect note to end the show on. I want to thank Antonio for being with us tonight. Antonio, always a pleasure to have you with us, buddy.
No problem.
Andy, thank you for being here. Yeah. Glad to have you with us tonight. Yeah. And Scott, I know you've listened to it all. I don't know why we couldn't hear you, but I thank you for running the board for me tonight. And we did read all of your. I did try to get all of your comments on air. Folks, our next broadcast will be sometime in September. Be watching the Lost Silver Productions Facebook page for time and subject. We hope we'll see you then. Until then, I'm David Hammond. Good night, everybody.